Due to a handful of questions that have come from the community, created a two-page document to help update everyone on where we are with health, life, safety. In an attempt to do so, I realized it was incredibly difficult to fit all information onto 2 pages. So I thought potentially the best way to go through is to narrate the process as we go through. So obviously, I will distribute these 2 pages so people can look at them, but I'll talk through the process as well. Health, life, safety is a law as part of school code that asserts that every 10 years, a school district must do a survey of their properties to ensure that they're up to code and that the safety of their students and community they serve are protected through the facilities that they have to use to attend school. There's many historical reasons why this law was put into place, stemming from tragedies that had occurred previously. What has occurred in our district is that in 2011, a survey took place after 10 years, as it was supposed to do. At that point, nobody brought, and nobody, but I mean district office-wise, brought that to the attention of the school board. When I arrived in Meridian as superintendent, it was brought to my attention by John Mickle, the buildings and grounds director, that this needed to take place. At the time, was when we were working through the referendum, and I was getting adjusted to the position. So it was a low burning fire to me as opposed to a high burning fire. And in hindsight, I could have done a better job as to making sure everyone was aware of our current situation. Once the referendum and the transition period ended for me, started to dedicate a lot of time and energy to understanding our processes and what we needed to do. As it turns out, at the end of the day, health, life, safety surveys and completing the work that is recommended by the architect is really not much of an option. It essentially is something that we are mandated by code to do. And when pushed on this, our legal advice was, if we refuse to do this, there is a potential that our money from the state could be cut. So it's of the utmost importance that we get things done. Our original survey, which was done, as I scroll down to show you some of the things that we would be able to get done. Our original survey was over $3 million worth of work. When meeting with the architect and with the regional superintendent of schools, we discovered that there are a few things that were pretty clearly out of code, at least according to my eye and according to his eye, and that $3+ million also were based on 2011 pricing to fix and remedy those issues, not today. So what I've done so far is commissioned the architect to do another study to see where we're at. Where we have been instructed is that we probably will end up around $7 million in terms of total repairs needed. Again, if you take the time to read the document, once the architect tells us we have $7 million or whatever X millions of dollars of repairs to do, it goes to the school board. The school board, if the school board were to approve, which they are somewhat compelled by law to do, it then goes to the regional superintendent. The regional superintendent would make sure the architect didn't cite frivolous things. Everything they did cite was an urgent matter that needed to be addressed due to code, and they would approve. It would then go to the State Board of Education for approval, and they would go through the same rigorous scrutinization of the report of the survey that the architect provided. And so the reason I'm telling everyone this is because it's not something this is not something where we are going to choose to buy office chairs with it or desks or anything of that matter. These are items that deal directly with the health and safety of our students, such as roofs that are becoming leaky or faulty. The fact that we have tattered carpet that's a tripping hazard covering asbestos tiles, that our parking lots are no longer safe, that our wiring is potentially not up to code. That's something they're investigating right now in terms of how we can communicate to and from buildings and to and from fire stations, etc. So all of these repairs and the money needed for them, this is not new, exciting stuff for the most part. This is just stuff that we need to do to make sure that we are providing a safe environment for our kids. So the question becomes, what does this look like in terms of how does it impact the taxpayers? And so what I want to show everyone, this is the exact same table I showed when we talked about the referendum and understanding bonded interest. Bonded interest is one of the things which that compose, among others, the overall tax rate. And so the current And additionally, this is something we don't get to choose. So when you enter into a bond, which most of our bonds currently are from 2000 and 2002, you set the rate of repayment at what you're going to repay each year at that time. So as you see, there's a continued escalation, which we talked about throughout the referendum time for the next 5 years, which means that each of those 5 years, based on what currently exists, tax rates would increase based on the bond and interest payment. Obviously, whenever you borrow money, which is what bonding essentially is for the district, you're going to have to repay that. So there's no way that I can do this and save the district money. But the one thing I can do is be creative in terms of how we structure it, so that people don't feel a tax increase. So what I can do is get the money to do the repairs which we're compelled by law to do, but that also gives me an opportunity to restructure our debt so that people don't feel that tax increase that they're currently scheduled to feel. They have been currently scheduled to feel since 2002. We can now prevent that from occurring and hopefully make it more palatable so that our community knows that our students would be in a safer, more efficient environment in terms of the schooling. They would not see a tax increase, but they would obviously, we would have to pay for it. So that means that we extend the tax rate over further years in terms of what we're paying in terms of long-term debt. So that's essentially health, life, safety in a nutshell. One other thing to note is that generally when we're structuring the debt, we would try to keep the structure within around 10 years. The issue being that we would want this to fall off because in 10 years we have to go back and do another health, life, safety survey, which again would probably cost us millions of dollars to keep our buildings up to code. So I hope this helped in terms of people understand what we're doing and why we're doing it. The reason we're doing it, obviously, just to synthesize this, is student safety and community safety. And on top of that, even though I personally, and I believe the board philosophically believes in that we need to do what we can to make sure we have safe facilities for our kids, is that we are legally compelled to do it as well. As always, please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you very much.